In this video, we will discuss about IP address. IP stands for Internet Protocol. An IP address is a unique string of characters that identifies each computer using the Internet Protocol to communicate over a network. There are two versions of IP that currently coexist in the global Internet. IP version 4, that is IPv4, and IP version 6, that is IPv6. IPv4 deployed in the year 1981. IPv4 addresses are 32-bit long and are binary numbers but are typically expressed in decimal form. This is the format of an IPv4 address in dotted decimal and in binary code. Each dot separates 8 bits of character and a total 32 bits, that is 4 bytes. This allows for a maximum of 2 to the power 32 unique addresses. IPv6 deployed in the year 1999 and is 128 bits long. IPv6 addresses are hexadecimal form, which allows 2 to the power 128 unique addresses. This is an example of an IPv6 address in hexadecimal form, and this is in binary notation. The first part is the site prefix, second part is the subnet ID, and third part is the interface ID. A total of 128 bits, that is 16 bytes. The site prefix of an IPv6 address occupies up to 48 of the leftmost bits of the IPv6 address. The subnet ID defines an administrative subnet of the network and is up to 16 bits in length. In IPv6, the host portion of the address is called the interface identifier and is always 64 bits in length. Private IP address. A private IP address is the address of our device connected on the home or business network. If we have a few different devices connected to one ISP, that is Internet Service Providers, then all our devices will have a unique private IP address. This IP address cannot be accessed from device outside our home or business network. Internet Assigned Numbers Authority is the organization responsible for registering IP address ranges to organizations and internet service providers. To allow organizations to freely assign private IP addresses, the Network Information Centers, that is INTER-NIC, has reserved certain address blocks for private use. The following IP blocks are reserved for private IP addresses. Public IP address. Our public IP address is the main IP address to which our home or our business network is connected. This IP address connects us to the world and it's unique for all users. To find out our public IP address, simply go to Google and type my IP address. It will display the public IP information. A public IP address is the address that is assigned to a computing device to allow direct access over the internet. A web server, email server, and any server device directly accessible from the internet are candidate for a public IP address. A public IP address is globally unique and can only be assigned to a unique device. Static and dynamic IP addresses. All private and public IP addresses can be either static or dynamic. IP addresses that we configure manually and fix them to the network of our device are called static IP address. Static IP addresses cannot change automatically. The dynamic IP address configures automatically and assigns an IP to our network when we set up the router with internet. This distribution of IP address is managed by Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, that is DHCP. DHCP can be our internet router that assigns an IP address to our network in our home or business environment. Now try this. What is the function of an IP address? What are the difference between IPv4 and IPv6? Why is the IPv4 preferred and still in use when the IPv6 is better? Find the pros and cons of IPv4 and IPv6.